Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and what we're going to make are actually individual or mini chocolate chip cakes. Now, if you don't have this particular pan, you can certainly use a 10-inch round pan, or you can use an 8 by 12. I like these especially for children's birthday parties or any really gathering, is that everybody can get their own little individual cake. So they're kind of proportioned and they're good size portions. Now you will, I like to use liners because I think it's easier to clean the pan and baking and everything. I just use the regular size cupcake liners, and I place them in and then just kind of stretch them out, but you can buy the jumbo paper liners if you want. Okay, in this recipe I do get 6 of these little mini cakes out of this pan. Okay, so first we want to get started with our butter, and I want to tell you I no longer put the recipe below the video. Sorry about that. But hopefully I'm gonna go through the recipe slow enough and clearly enough that if you want to take notes and get the recipe, you can do that, okay? So first, let's start off with butter. You're gonna need a half a stick of butter, which is 4 tablespoons. I cut it into small pieces because I think it's easier to cream it and break it up, okay? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to warn you about the mixer because it can be loud. Now once you break that up and cream it, and then of course if you're using your mixer or your hand mixer, depending on your speed, you know, it's probably going to maybe take you maybe 2 minutes or so. Sometimes it's just basically I'm moving things along, so I kind of speed things up a little bit. The next thing that you're going to be putting in is a half a cup of granulated sugar. Cream that together, and again that's going to maybe take you 2 or 3 minutes. You know, you want it to cream it where it becomes very light and fluffy. The next thing I'm going to do is put in vanilla, and that's a half a teaspoon. And just beat that in with your butter and your sugar. And then I'm going to put 2 eggs in, one at a time, and they've been at room temperature. That was the second egg that went in. And again, take some time and beat it well. It doesn't have to be beaten for a long time, just till it's nice and silky. Okay, the next thing that you're going to put in, I really think that makes these cakes very moist and really moist and light and airy and just delicious, is sour cream. And I'm using a half a cup of sour cream. Okay. And again, warn you about the sound of the mixer. Okay, and again, spend some time, really blend it well, okay? And now we'll work on our dry ingredients. You're going to need 2 cups of cake flour, and it really will turn out nicer if you use cake flour rather than just regular all-purpose flour, okay? You can go ahead and sift it, or just make sure, as I have, is that, you know, I have a little whisk and I try to move it and aerate it a little bit, that kind of thing. The next thing that you're going to be putting in is a half a teaspoon of salt, And I'm just going to stir that in. You're also going to be putting in a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay. And you're going to be putting in a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, which just gives it, oh, such a nice blend with the chocolate and the nutmeg. It really does taste good, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're just going to start slowly adding the dry to the wet, and then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of our morsels or chocolate chips. You can use whatever flavor you want. If you want to use butterscotch or white or caramel or whatever, you know, that you like, or but those are milk chocolate. You can also, what's really good is the dark chocolate chips for it. And then I'm just going to slowly start stirring and beating this in. Again, you're going to spend a couple minutes. You don't want to overbeat it, because I really think that if you do, it kind of toughens the cake. And then you can fold in, if you prefer, your 1/2 cup of chips or morsels. I like to put them in the blender because I think they distribute them more evenly. And you don't want to do it too long, because you know you don't want to break them up or for them to lose the shape, their integrity. See how quickly we put that together. And then I'm just going to take out my excess here off my paddle. Like I always say, you know, to bake, it takes you time, it takes effort, as well as what you're spending to make these. So I try not to waste a lot of product. And I'm sure others feel exactly the same way. And then I'm just going to make sure and check the sides of my mixing bowl and at the bottom, and I'll show you what that batter looks like. Here, let me just give it another nice little stir. It tends to stick on the sides. And then you have this really nice batter. Oh, it smells so good, especially with the nutmeg and the chocolate. Now you also need a little bit extra of the chocolate chips. You put a 1/2 cup in your recipe, and this is maybe a 1/4 cup. You don't even have to do that. You know, you can kind of consider it as a garnish. And then also, what I like to use is my large ice cream scoop, and I, you know, use a good generous portion of it. And it's just easier. It seems like, you know, I can just put them out so easily, as you can see. I'm not going to bore you with putting the rest in, but you get the idea. And then what I do is I just take the extra ones, and you know, you can put 5 or 6. It's really depending, you know, how many, you know, that you want to put on the top. Now you don't have to, of course, but I think they're so pretty when they bake up, and then you see the ones that were sitting on top. And then you're going to bake it at 350 degrees, and it's going to take you anywhere from 18 to 20 minutes. And you know, ovens do set up so differently, so you might be under or you might be even over a little bit. But I start checking mine after about 15, 17 minutes, something like that, depending. And they bake up just beautifully, so quick and so nice. Now, if you do end up having a little bit extra, then I always, you know, after I put my scoop in, I take a tablespoon, and then if there is any extra, just make sure that I try to even out what's ever left, that type of thing. So, and I would say that I'm filling them probably about halfway, if that question comes up. So let me wash my hands real quick, being I work with raw eggs, because I want to show you what they look like once they do bake up. And this is how they turn out. Now you can put frosting on them if you want. You could put chocolate glaze on it. If you want, you could use a white glaze with powdered sugar and milk, or use milk or water if you want to put a white glaze, sugar glaze, or just melt some of your chocolate chip morsels in a microwave safe bowl in the microwave, and and just drizzle that on top or that kind of thing. But they really come out so delicious. They really don't even need a topping to them. And as I said, they just bake up so nice. You've got that paper, you just pull that off. Now I'm going to show you one that's cut open, because this one didn't even make the time for the video. Somebody walking through the kitchen decided to try it, which is fine. And it's already cut, which is kind of nice, because I always like to show you. Let me peel off that paper, okay, to show you the inside, the nice chocolate chips, that kind of thing. And then when I'm pressing down on the cake, how moist it is. And then let me get a fork just to give you an idea of the flake on this. It's really very light. It's not, a real dense cake or heavy cake. And they're just delicious, like I said, on their own, or if you put a glaze, or you want to put chocolate frosting on it, or whatever type of frosting. And you just break open and you can see all those really nice morsels in there, the chocolate morsels in them. And again, you're going to get 6 of them this size, okay, out of them. Or go ahead and use your 10-inch round or your 8x12 pan. And I think you'd be really pleased with this recipe if you give it a try. Now, if you do try the recipe, well, tell me about it. Write to me or leave me a comment about it. I'd really like to hear from you, and I will answer in a timely fashion. But I just want to remind you also to solely watch me on YouTube. That's the only place that I put my videos. And that's why I no longer, and I'm not alone on it, that's for sure, I no longer put the recipe below the video, because I really get frustrated when I see people write to me or have a question or a comment, and someone's taken my work, claimed it as theirs, or posted, pin it, whatever, and I can't answer you, and it's just not worth it anymore. So sorry to even take up your time explaining that, but people have asked me, so that's why I'm explaining it to you. So I hope you give these a try. I think you're really going to like these little miniature or mini cakes, whatever you'd want to call them. They are absolutely delicious and easy to make. If you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, boy, I can't thank you enough. Or even give the video a like. Thank you so much. So, once again, thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you soon.